I've seen a lot of people talking about the FICO 10 and FICO 10T, but out of all the bad and good I hear about it, I still see people overlooking an important aspect of what's going to happen when this actually rolls out. I'm going to tell you what that aspect is and how it might affect you, as well as over 100 million other consumers out there using their credit. Now, if you don't know what FICO 10 is, it's basically a credit scoring algorithm which would be the most updated at this point in time. You see, every few years, just like computer operating systems or like the Apple OS, there's updates that are put in just to make things more efficient for the end user. And in this case, that user would be your banks, your credit unions, and others that do lending decisions. Now, with this latest update, there is FICO 10 and then there's FICO 10T. Now, besides the general updates to how the credit profile is looked at and then scored to give a, score to determine your risk factor as a consumer, the most major difference between the FICO 10 and FICO 10T is the fact that the 10T uses trended data. What that means is instead of today where you can pay down your balance on your credit card and then all of a sudden your credit score will shoot up, this is not just looking at that most recent information as far as your balance goes. This trending data is going to look at how your balance has trended over the last 24 months, much similar to your payment history. So if you're constantly going over the limit or constantly having a high balance, it will affect you more greatly. And you just paying down your balance when you need to do something is no longer going to be something that's going to benefit you, because now it would be looking at how you've handled that the whole time. Now, if you think that that's something that would affect you, the fact that they are looking at if you carry a balance or not, put that down in the comments, because I'm curious as to how many people out there are actually carrying a balance and think that this might be something that will affect them. Now, just bear with me. I'm going to get to the point that I'm going to let you guys know that overlooked aspect that most people aren't mentioning. But I want to make sure everybody understands the full scope of what's going on with this new update, because a lot of you guys are really scared about how this is going to affect you, and a lot of you guys are happy for it too if you operate in a more favorable way. But let's look at a few more details. So first off, as I mentioned, so if you take a look at this article, you can see that it says here that the FICO 10 scoring model is slated for a summer release and could cause a credit score drop of 20 points as the model looks at past debt and balances. And it said the summer release in this article was January 28, 2025. Now, the thing is, on the FICO website, it says that FICO 10 was slated for release in the summer of January 2023. Is when they said that. I'm sorry, 2020. That's when they said that before. So basically, the summer of 2020 is when this came out. Now, why is that important? So let's take a look at another article from another press release, rather, from FICO. This is from April 17th, 2024. And it says here that FICO score 10T adoption reaches significant milestone, serving 300 billion in eligible mortgage portfolios. So basically, a bunch of mortgage companies here have adopted FICO 10T. You can see here, Liberty Mortgage is the latest to choose to adopt FICO 10T for non-conforming loans. Now, what are non-conforming loans? What most of you guys will recognize would be the FHA loans, the VA loans, the USDA loans. So those are the types of loans that they are talking about they're using the FICO 10T for. And I'm going to show you what all this means in just a second. Now, they just list some other mortgage companies here like Movement Mortgage, Cross Country Mortgage, Primus Mortgage. So there are a few different companies that they have underneath their wing. Now, that was in April of 24. Now let's take a look at what happened around the end of 2024. We can see here that Cardinal Financial completes issue of first ever mortgage-backed security containing loans decision with the help of FICO score 10T. So even after April, when they were talking about everybody jumping on board within that mortgage industry, wasn't until November 25th that the actual first mortgage loan was issued with the help of the FICO 10T. So what is that aspect that's being overlooked that people aren't thinking about? Well, FICO 10T, while it might have the ability to drop a person's credit score 20 points or increase it 20 points, depending on, what side of the spectrum you're on as far as how you use your credit. The important thing is the banks have to adopt it in order for it to affect you. And it won't just affect your credit score, while you're just sitting in your living room. It only affects you when you go to a certain lender and they actually have FICO 10T in place at their branch for that product you're applying for. And then it will affect your score when you apply and they enter it within that FICO 10T system. See, if you go to a bank and that bank does not actually use FICO 10T, you actually don't have anything to worry about. And let's say they don't use FICO 10T for credit cards at all. And, maybe they use it for auto loans. So when you apply for a credit card, you won't have to deal with it because they're only using FICO 10T for auto loans. So it's not just a matter of if FICO 10T or 10 has been released. It's a matter of, does the bank that I'm about to go apply to actually have this in place? Did they adopt it and implement it within their systems where it's actually going to affect my credit score when I apply? That's what most people don't know they should be thinking about, and that's what most people are unaware of. Now, as we saw, there are some banks that have said that they will adopt this. What we saw was mortgage brokers who decided to use this for mortgage decisions. And even though that press release came out in 2020 saying that it was going to be released that summer of 2020, it took almost 5 years. It was like the ending of 2024. There was even the first decision used for that. So you can see it takes a lot of time for adoption of these new scoring models, and it also takes a lot of time for implementation even after adopting it. Because a lot of times the banks just want to keep using what they've already used. But there is one problem that might occur with this particular scoring model and this given time that we're in right now. And if you're getting value from this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up so YouTube can know to show this to more people that might need to hear this information. But given the fact that banks already at the end of last year started to tighten up because of everything that was going on with the credit card debt out there, and I already went over in a video telling you guys how I told you guys that was coming. So knowing that they have already started to tighten things up, knowing that there are some looming problems to come with commercial real estate debt within this first quarter of 2025, and knowing that there are constant changes happening as the new president Trump is constantly, writing executive orders and changing things and getting rid of this and breaking down that. So there's a lot of uncertainty happening right now, and it might make more banks want to rely on something that's going to give them more accurate data as far as how a person conduct themselves credit-wise in longevity, so that they can make sure that they are giving money only to specific people that show good behavior over a longer period of time. So yeah, banks, when you're trying to go to get money to get funding for your business, they might get to the point where more people start adopting this FICO 10T because they're just scared and want to make sure that they are not making bad lending decisions. So they adopt it so that they can make sure that they have a system in place that's going to help mitigate that for them. So if you are one of those business owners that need to get money for your business, the first thing you need to do is go ahead and get into my free community on School so that you can learn some tips that you need to know to help get your credit score to a good place before a scoring model like that steps in. And then those little fixes that you might try to do for your credit aren't going to really help because now they'll be looking at the trended data over time. So you can get all of that within the free group, as well as learning how to get the money that you need for your business. If you're constantly getting low approvals and you're constantly getting denied, even with a good score or even with money in the bank, then there's probably a lot of things that you're doing wrong. And you can learn how to fix all those things in that free community. So you'll find that down below in the description. So go ahead and check that out. I mean, it's free. Now, alternatively, if you want to learn about a few different banks that you can go to try to get some high levels of money for your business, then go to this video. And if you want some quick tips on how to get your credit score up by 100+ points, go ahead and check out this video. And I'll see you in the next one.